Well, there's a big problem with the chemicals, obviously, with the environmental impact, and I don't think that people realize that they don't understand how that's going into the water system and polluting it. If people want to more understand what I'm talking about, if you look at the Mississippi Delta down into the Gulf of Mexico, and the
Mm.
fertilizer runoff and the algae blooms and what it's doing to the ocean down there, it's a much better visualization of what I'm talking about. That's not pharmaceuticals are in our water that are bad. I think that we just need to quit mucking that up and to protect the environment
Yeah.
as much as possible. Like I said, I'm not this big environmentalist or whatever, but I want clean air and clean water, and
Yep.
I can do my small part, hopefully.
Exactly. And I think honestly that just sends a huge message that you don't have to be this, huge green environmentalist to appreciate having clean water and clean air and clean soil and clean food. And yeah, it's a full cycle. It's a full circle that, yeah, we all get to pay for at some point.
Yeah, and I'll
So
give you
tell me
another
a little bit
example.
more.
Is my grandfather a couple years ago died, and he was in hospice, and he was at
Hmm.
home hospice, and we had all this morphine and Ativan and painkiller. And the first thing the hospice nurse did was break the bottles open and dump them in the toilet and flush them down. I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, this is what we have to do." I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And I mean, it was a lot of medicine, and dumping opiates in our water supply is just not good for anybody.
Exactly. Yeah, it's eye opening when you step back and you begin to realize how significant that is.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about thinking about faith, thinking about farming, thinking about just, values in general. How do, your faith, your values, how does that influence your work there on the farm?
Well, as far as faith, I don't know if it has much of an impact on that, other than I
Okay.
like to go out and see
Yeah.
this big, beautiful creation, and look around and just be in awe of the beauty of where we live,
Hmm.
and farms and so on.
Yeah.
As far as values, I've always valued hard work, and we know that farming is hard work. And I've done my best to instill those values in my children. One of them took pretty well. One of them's kind of, she's not a hard physical laborer, but the other one is. And I'll tell you who's the hardest worker on my farm is my wife. My wife
Hmm.
is an absolute beast of a human being. I'll go out and find her splitting firewood to keep us warm in the winter, or pulling weeds, or cutting the grass, or whatever. She owns her own business, and then comes home and splits firewood. And it's just kind of,
Wow.
yeah, you don't get that very often.